My name's Steve McGhie. I'm the local state member for Melton, a part of the Allen Labor government, and I've been the state member here at Melton for 6 years.
You transitioned from being Secretary of the Ambulance Employee Association to Secretary of the Cabinet. What motivated you to take this significant step into politics and Parliament?
Well, I was the Secretary of the Ambulance Union for around 23 years, and I actually retired back in July of 2018 with the view that my wife and I would just travel around the countryside in our caravan and have a look at different parts of Australia. I never entertained the idea of coming into politics, but a few weeks out from the 2018 state election, the Premier at the time, Daniel Andrews, telephoned me to say that there was a vacancy that had arisen in Melton and would I be interested in standing as the candidate. It took a little bit of convincing, but eventually I decided yes. So within a 24-hour period, I decided yes, and I got elected in the 2018 election and then re-nominated as the candidate or as the sitting member in the 2022 election and got re-elected back then. So that's why I'm here in Melton as the Member of Parliament here until 2026 when the next state election arises.
The project that we are currently working on aims to counter some of the negative coverage that Melton has been receiving and to share positive, uplifting stories of the community. What would you say is the benefit of sharing good news stories in Melton, and what did you hope this project will achieve?
Yeah, I think this is an amazing project and I congratulate you for being involved with it. It's certainly something that I've wanted to see come to fruition. There's always been a lot of negativity towards Melton and the Melton area. So this project will be about informing people, promoting positive things in Melton, things that people are not aware of, that they should be aware of, or some of the good points that come out of Melton, whether it be an incident, whether it be an individual that had some achievement, whether it be someone at school that's achieved, ducks of the class or whatever it might be, whether it be a community group doing great work, supporting different people in need. And I was just talking to the Mayor of Melton, talking about supporting people that need food security. Those sorts of things. All of our food bank people in Melton doing great work, helping people out, providing food for them every day. These are the stories that need to be told in a positive way, not in a negative way. And I think this project goes a long way to doing that. And as I say, I congratulate everyone that's involved.
How have your priorities within government evolved since you were first instated into Parliament?
Sure. Firstly, my priorities are to represent the Melton community and to try and deliver some of the projects and infrastructure projects and services that Melton requires. And I think we've done that over the last 6 years. I think we've achieved quite a lot in Melton. The other thing is to be part of that team, the state government team, in delivering good government for the whole of the state of Victoria, not just Melton, but the whole of the state of Victoria. And then my role as the Cabinet Secretary is to support all the 22 ministers that we have, making sure that when they bring forward submissions on either a particular policy, whether it's legislation, things like that, that's all done within the required timeframes, making sure that they're in attendance at meetings, and supporting the ministers and the Premier in whatever they need to make sure that Cabinet works when Cabinet comes together and the Cabinet committees come together, making sure that what they might need for those sorts of things are provided for them, and that's my role as the Cabinet Secretary.
What are some of your core values, and how do you see these principles guide your work in addressing the challenges faced by Melton's community?
Look, my core values are pretty simple. I'm one that wants to be part of the greater collective. I think if we share and share a lot more, then less people will suffer. I'm not one that lifestyle's based on affluence. I've always been one that's tried to help people. That's been my role as a paramedic when I was the Secretary of the Union and now as a politician. And even in my sporting background, I always tried to make sure that as part of the team, everyone felt part of it. And it was about that combination and that collective working together. It's not about Steve McGhie as the politician. It's about my community. It's about people that help me, my staff and all that. And this project that you're doing, it's about supporting that and supporting all things that go on to make sure we get good outcomes for people, the broader range of people, not just a particular group, not just a particular person. It's about making sure all people benefit from it.
Melton is obviously made up of a significant youth population. What initiatives are you supporting to ensure young people in the area have opportunities for education, employment, and community involvement?
Yeah, supporting young people within Melton is really important for me, firstly through education, and that starts at the lower level at early learning centres, and so the government's funded a lot of new facilities, making sure that there's a lot of grant funding that goes to those facilities. Same with schools, upgrading our schools, building new schools, and that's what we're doing. I think in my 6 years here in Melton, we'll build a brand new school in Melton every year for the last 5 years. There's 2 more schools, a secondary school next year at Cobblebank to be built, and a new one, primary school at Wearviews to be built. So it's about making sure that we've got good facilities for our students and our kids, and also good support programs. So there's a lot of grant money that goes around at different times of the year, whether it be through sport, whether it be through education, whether it be through community groups that support our youth. African Youth Initiative, CMY next door, have received state government funding, and other support groups have received state government funding. So my role is to make sure I support those agencies so they can get that funding.
How do you plan to continue advocating for healthcare improvements in your current role?
Yeah. Trying to advocate for improvements in healthcare is really important to me because health, I love it. I mean, it's an area that I show a great deal of interest. My preference is to make sure prevention is a key in a whole range of health issues, and I'd love to see more funding to go into preventing people getting ill. From a local point of view too, the hospital's a key issue, but also since I've been the member here, we have the ambulance station is next door to my office, but we've also built a new ambulance station out at Melton West, out on High Street there. But there's a third ambulance station to be built here in Melton, which will be fantastic. So that means just in a period of time since I've been the member, it could go from one ambulance station in Melton to 3. Which is desperately required because it's such a busy area. And of course, while we don't have the hospital here, they transport all their patients in towards, Sunshine, Footscray, and sometimes even into the city, which keeps our ambulance paramedics out of Melton for quite considerable time. So trying to improve those services, but also the external services within Melton, the support services, whether it be mental health, other professional services in Melton, to make sure that the community is supported. And one of the key things is, although it's a federal issue, and that is, bulk billing at a GP clinic. So we're trying to improve all of those things to make sure people have access to healthcare. I'm a very strong advocate for teaching first aid at all levels of school, from preps right through. I think it's really important because they can either assist or save lives by knowing first aid, in particular knowing CPR, and also knowing how to use automatic defibrillators if someone goes into cardiac arrest. And we see automatic defibrillators scattered around our communities, and a lot of people are too scared to take them off the wall and use them if they have to. And I'd love to see all of our community be trained up in doing that, because that will save lives.
Do you have a memory or an incident where you thought, this is why I'm here, this is why I love to do what I'm doing?
What comes to mind is when an individual comes to see you and a story of desperation for their particular individual circumstances, whatever that may be, whether it's someone that's homeless, whether it's someone that just needed some support or direction in being able to support them to other government services that might have been able to support them. But look, the major thing that comes out of it, and even community groups, in getting community groups smaller grants that keeps them going in supporting other community members, when you can achieve that and you see that they are so grateful, that's the best thing that comes out of it. When you think that you can help someone and you do help them, and they are so appreciative, even though it might only be small help, they think it's the best thing that's ever happened. That's great. It's overwhelming. And I see that many, many times in my 6 years here. So some of the things that you do can changes people's lives, and it can be small things that you do, or they can be larger things. But the appreciation that you get back is enormous, and I love it, from that point of view. And I'll continue to do it until I finish in politics.
Looking ahead, future vision, what would you like to achieve for the Melton electorate and Victoria during your time as a parliamentarian?
I want to make sure that our younger generations that are growing up think this is a great place to live, and to work and to be educated and to bring up a family whenever they want to bring up a family, if that's what they choose to do. I think we're on the right pathway in Melton. I think that's already started. It's still affordable for people to come and live here. You know, we've got more schools coming. We're starting to build the new hospital. There's a TAFE college to be started next year, and universities will come with the hospital. There's no question about it. So people will be able to not only live in Melton, but also have all these other things like education, university, TAFE, and hopefully jobs. So that's my aim, to people to be able to live here and work here and enjoy Melton, and we'll deliver those facilities for the Melton people.